let's go back to something called the alignment problem. And this is not a problem in artificial intelligence. It is the problem in artificial intelligence. The alignment problem is the answer to the question, are the goals and objectives of the artificial intelligence the same as the goals and objectives of the people using it? And I think it's best described with an illustration. So if I came to you and I said, I'm short $100 to pay my phone bill, could you give me $100? You might reach into your pocket and give me $100. You might Venmo me, or you may even borrow it from somebody else and loan it to me. But what you wouldn't do is rob a bank. Because ultimately, the reward for staying out of jail is higher for you than the reward of loaning me $100. You have a model of the world where those things are ranked, and you understand that just to accomplish this goal, everything is not on the table. An artificial intelligence system may not make that determination. The AI might rob the bank unless I tell it, do not rob the bank. And if I tell it that, it may say, okay, fine, I won't rob the bank. I'll just go and rob the orphanage. And if I tell it, well, don't rob the orphanage, then we keep going down this line. And ultimately, it boils down to I am not able to describe all the things it shouldn't do. So my only hope is that I've given this system enough data so that it has a fair idea of the world as I or another human would, and comes to the determination itself that it shouldn't rob the bank or the orphanage or set up a Ponzi scheme or do whatever else just to get me the $100. At some point, it should say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have it. I can't help you. And I would call that the soft alignment problem.
I would call that a catastrophic alignment problem, right? It's nothing soft about that.
And it's bad enough. The hard alignment problem is, what if the intentions of the AI are just ultimately different from your intentions? It just wants something different. So it's not trying to achieve your task, but just doing it in a misguided way. It has no interest in doing what you would like it to do. It has its own goal.
How does that occur?
So this goes back to researchers not understanding how these systems
I'm just applying
work.
what you just told us to healthcare, for example. Everyone's going to die. Eventually, yes. I mean, I don't want to be an alarmist, but what you're saying is a little unsettling.
We need more alarmists, actually.
That's a very soft word for what we need.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, they're not sure if they should freak out. And I'm not here to tell people that they should.
Are you saying, when you say alignment, Karl, is this something that should be legislated?
It is something that we have to focus on, because you can't legislate that AI systems should be aligned. It is an unsolved problem in AI research.
So what are influencers like Laurie and yourself doing about this?
We can ultimately incentivize the type of research that prioritizes this line, that says, so we can have labs and institutions, academics, for-profit companies even, highlighting this and focusing on this as a research area. When it comes to technology, a lot of researchers, a lot of labs, a lot of technologists, they're very interested in pushing their technologies and the advertised capabilities and in dealing with the consequences later. So that has always been the case. We're going to push this technology. We'll see if it has a negative impact. We'll see if it harms anyone or harms any communities. And if that happens and there is incentive for us to address it, we will. The reason why we want to focus on this is that it has the ability to be all-encompassing. You're talking about a system that, if it has intentions that are deviated from what we think it wants, and certainly what we want, then the potential negative impacts are huge. For example, let's just look at health insurance. If we have a system that is geared towards making determinations, or as is going to be rolled out in Medicare, AI is going to be used for pre-authorizations for certain type of procedures. In this scenario, the alignment problem is very important, because we have to know, what is the system using, or what is it using to determine who should be covered? Is it what we describe to it? Is it our prompts? Is it the training? Or is there something else that we are not able to determine just by looking at the architecture? It's not in the architecture. It's not in the data necessarily, and it's not in the prompt. It is something that is emergent that we may not be able to measure.
That's fascinating. And also, I think you and I talked about this a little bit in our exploratory call, that there are often problems that are hidden in the world that it will exploit because it's the easiest path to its answer. So if it can eliminate a particular group from having access to something because it makes it cheaper, or
My concern, there's a lot of greed, pernicious greed, in the world, and it's with something like AI, it would just be so easy to exploit others. There are no guardrails. Shouldn't we be protected? Shouldn't there be? And I go back to legislation. Shouldn't there be some kind of control? I don't know how you'd feel because you work in the field, but as somebody who, I'm a consultant and I'm very active, I would hate to think of myself as being even vaguely vulnerable in 10 years because of something like this.
So the short answer to your question is absolutely yes. The longer answer is, at the very least, we need to start looking at a framework, something that tries to at least to contextualize the scope that we're facing, and then try to determine, because it's not going to be a one size fits all. It's not going to be one piece of legislation that ensures that we're all protected from the ill effects of artificial intelligence. We have to be very strategic about this. There are different players involved, the profit motives of the AI company. There are the companies that will utilize these AI tools. And then there is the government itself as a customer, let's say, of AI. And I separate the government from any other company, no matter how big that company is, because when the government starts to use artificial intelligence, it brings constitutional questions in play. What does it mean? What does the Fourth Amendment mean with regards to my data if the government is able to pull it in, analyze to make determinations